Hello and welcome to Kelly's Anesthesia Tips. I wanted to share something with you that I learned recently. Now I have done YouTube videos on iPACK block with Dr. Donahue that I've updated in the last year or so. When Aetna published a clinical policy bulletin or a CPB, they gave us this different code to use for the iPACK block than pretty much anyone else out there. So I updated that comment section of the YouTube on iPACKs, and hopefully you saw that. Well, if not, well, I'm doing another one now just to update that update, because as we all know, everything changes in the world of anesthesia. But it's okay with me. It keeps me on my toes. So I want to share this Aetna CPB on nerve blocks, but I want to go just a little bit beyond the iPACK on this, because they did last review it on April the 27th, and I wanted to point out that here under your medical necessity for nerve blocks, Aetna does list quite a few blocks and what the blocks are used for, but I wanted to point out the fascia iliaca block, because their coding convention here is different than you might find on other resources, and you'll want to follow Aetna CPB for that particular type of block. There are more. I'll just mention infraclavicular is the same as the brachial plexus block, which is better known by us coders as the brachial plexus block, but every once in a while you'll see like an infraclavicular approach to or something like that, but that one happens to be the same code. Then I want to point out that iPACK is listed here under their medical necessity, but they are going to give you a different code than the code that you normally see for iPACK. So for Aetna in particular, we can use in the past year the 64450. I won't take us over to my YouTube update on that, but Hal Nelson shared that information, if memory serves me right, May of 2022. Now we're in May of 2023, and Aetna has changed the verbiage on this. So if you missed it, I'm going to show that to you. We'll get back down to that in just a minute, because I also want to mention you can look through those at your leisure for the medical necessity covered ones. But here I want to point out under experimental and investigational, be careful, because adductor canal block is only experimental and investigational here for removal of a ganglion cyst in the foot. So when you see your doctors doing an adductor canal block, typically it is for knee surgery. So that is something different, and it's the same here. So just watch what they're saying and how they say it when it's experimental and investigational. Again, what I want to point out here is the ESP or erector spina block. There's another one down here, PING, pericapsular nerve group. And while I'm on this, I'm going to also share a resource for you. These were on my list of to-dos for YouTube for block videos, but my good friend, anesthesia friend, and good friend Doris The Coder actually did some that I'm going to share her website with you, because I'm not going to redo those. Don't want to reinvent the wheel when she did such a fantastic job for it. But notice here under that PING block that it says for the management of postoperative pain. So Aetna is not going to cover the PING block for you, for your patients. Now, I'm also going to bring us down to where their coding is, because I'd like to point out two specifically. One of them is that fascia iliaca block here. You may notice that they have that assigned with a 64450 as other peripheral nerve or branch. You may hear other coding resources that tell you to report a fascia iliaca planar block Doris is going to explain that fantastically, as an unlisted code. Here we're going to get down to the iPACK block. And check with your doctors on this infraclavicular, because typically that is an approach to a brachial plexus. So although this says no specific code, you may find that that is what you're looking for, is the brachial plexus. But let's get to the iPACK, and if I don't find it quickly enough here, I'm going to do a word search. There we go. So on the iPACK, this is new. Last year, this said 64450. This year, updated April 27th, it now says no specific code, which leads us right back to that unlisted 64999. As I said, I'll leave the link so you can review this at your leisure for the types of blocks that you may do in your practice. And keep in mind that Aetna has something different for you than other conventional coding. So let's swap over to Doris the Coder's YouTube channel. I will share this because she's done 2 fantastic Getting Unblocked on nerve blocks for anesthesia and pain coders, part 1 and 2. So she goes into a lot of the anatomical areas, as well as giving good resources. So as I said, I'm not planning on doing any of these block YouTubes past this. I'll just direct you to Doris the Coder if you ask. So again, I'll share this link. There's a part 1, which of course means there's a part 2, and potentially in the future a part 3 as we see this information changes. But keep in mind, Doris has other great anesthesia, pain management, and cardiac. I know she has cardiac, but she does so many good things to try to help coders, like additional considerations when you're looking for a job. So make sure if you are not subscribed that you do subscribe to Doris the Coder. The update for iPACK, Doris's, and then just another brief mention of the Florida Anesthesia Administrators Association, because if you are a Florida practice, we hope that you see the value in this organization, and not just Florida practices, out-of-state billing companies. We've welcomed Pam Stouffer, who bills out of Tennessee but has Florida clients, Zotac, Aaron, I believe, that bills out or inside the state of Florida. So this is not just, specific to Florida people. It's billing companies as well. It's a very valuable organization, and both Doris and I, and as I said, we're not just anesthesia friends, we're friends. We work together quite a bit on FAAA things, sharing back and forth on YouTubes, etc. So Doris is the legislative liaison for FAAA. I'm acting secretary now. I've been involved with this organization for well over 20 years, and we have a meeting coming up in June. So I will leave links to all of this information. If you happen to be in or near DC next week, Doris and I are going to be attending the Washington legislative meeting with the ASA, representing the FAAA, and we probably will not have time to do a live video. Sometimes we do that from meetings because doctors have very long meeting days. But we'll bring back any valuable information that we have, of course, and share it with our anesthesia community. So with that, I do like to end with a normal, for me, be kind to one another, generous with your knowledge. If you are subscribed already, you will get these updates. If not, please subscribe and you'll be notified of any upcoming videos. Do the same for Doris the Coder. This is a link to my website that has contact information. You can reach me by email, leave a comment in the comments section. I do, consider everyone in the anesthesia community a friend and make sure that I, respond to all comments and emails. With that, I hope this was a helpful video for you. Reminder to subscribe to Doris the Coder, and everyone have a wonderful day.